Salmanan. So I was on my favorite app this morning, Twitter. I'm joking. If you guys know me, you know that I hate Twitter, but at times it is a necessary evil. Um, a lot of us use it to get the daily news. You know what's trending. They tend to know what's happening before our news channel knows. And one of the trending topics of the day has been around Dr. Nandipha and Thabo, and obviously as South Africans at times we use humor to deal with things. Um, at times we do use humor in the most inappropriate ways, but again, I guess it's a trauma response for many of us in those spaces. And I'm watching, and people are like, "Yo, they're in love. Love lives here. Love lives here." And for a second, I was thinking about uh, Mkhuseli. I don't know if you guys know who Mkhuseli is. Mkhuseli is a father. He is a husband or an ex-husband. He's a doctor. He's a professional. He's his own man. Mkhuseli Magudumana. Um, he had to experience as a father, as a husband, as a man, media all these years, not just media, but people um, talk about his wife. He had to experience his wife having a affair, a public affair of late, a private affair in the past, and he had to manage that. Um, we forget ukuthi Dr. Nandipha Segelani. I will not put that man's surname on her anymore. She must take her maiden surname Segelani. Dr. Nandipha Segelani, in her selfishness, has destroyed a family. Um, she's got beautiful daughters, kind souls, um, that had to experience all of this. Her family, I remember during this whole thing, they used to call Unandipa's brother bitter. Oh, he's the bitter brother, because he was honest. He spoke up about, during her marriage she used to cheat on her husband with Thabo. Again, people do things in private. I'm not saying anyone is outside of them is innocent. I'm just saying, Guti, can we take the time to feel for this man who is watching TV and is seeing his recent ex-wife? I think they got divorced last year, April. His recent ex-wife staring Gugu Gaga at another man, while he has to try and protect his daughters from seeing all of this. It is a very challenging conversation and time to be with when you are taking your two little daughters to the other side, to the other side of the family, the Segelani family, because that is going to be discussed. It is going to be discussed at school. They're very, very smart girls, so they obviously know what's happening. We don't know outside of her friendship group what little kids, sometimes little kids, much as us older kids, tend to be a bit inappropriate at times, And hey, did you guys see how your mom was looking at the criminal? Did you see how your mom was? It's painful, man. And we forget whenever we go onto these social media platforms and we joke about certain things and we laugh about certain things and we text and we type and we make little videos, we forget to go to Thabo Pesta, no, not Dr. Nandipha Segelani. They put themselves in the situation, so that's on them. But we forget to go to, there's so many other stakeholders. There's little girls here. There's a ex-husband who has tried his best to pull the family together, but due to his wife's infidelity, couldn't. So there's so many variables that we forget, and people that unintentionally through our text and stuff, we compound and we add more pain and hurt in their lives. But again, just going on to Twitter, I was just thinking about that. I was just like, that's one thing that we need to try and be cognizant. Not necessarily again that we are on these high horses, but just be cognizant of other people and other stakeholders whenever we start talking about this. So tomorrow you might be that wife that gets cheated on, and it might be public. We don't know. If you look at the booth and that situation, tomorrow you might be the husband that gets cheated on and it goes public. Your kids, your brother, your sister, your family members, they will have to also deal with your shenanigans. So let's just always be cognizant, and just because it's not you today, let's also try our best to be respectful of the families. We can be aggressive when it comes to the law and how they broke the law and focus on that, but just understand ukuthi in how we carry ourselves, it can affect other people. But that had me thinking, and then I continue to scroll around on Twitter and I see this video of this white guy talking about the taxi strikes in Cape Town, and he's sitting in his car, obviously, and he's talking about, yo guys, how can we ensure that the taxi strike carries on? Cape Town roads are empty, we're driving fine, la 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 la, and he's almost happy that the strikes are happening because his own life, on the road is now easier. There's less cars, there's less this and that. And I don't know that guy, obviously, this is against social media. But it has me thinking about privilege, and the reason why people get so angry at white privilege in this case is that he's totally oblivious of the negatives of what he's saying. He's just purely speaking about his own experience. Like, oh my gosh, there's no more taxis in the road. Let's make sure that the taxis stay off the road. Living la vida loca. He has no idea, the true pain. He can watch it on TV. He can hear about it, but he has no lived experience about taxi, or when there's lack of taxis, or when there's strikes, or when there's those type of challenges that the majority of South Africans face. He has no idea. He's speaking from a position of extreme privilege because, again, to be able to live outside of a luxury, to be able to afford a car, is a privilege reserved for the minority of this country. A very, very small part of this country can afford that luxury. In your circle, everybody might have a car. In your circle, everybody might live in the suburbs. But that's your circle. It doesn't speak about the majority of the country. So again, just listening to him spew his white privilege just had me thinking about all the privileges that I have, that I overlook, and I just, I don't have that privilege. Abantu will say, hey, Penson, you have male privilege. Hey, Penson, you have pretty privilege. Or whatever the privilege that I may have, and it might be a blind spot that I may not see. So it just had me thinking, Wuti, before I go and launch at this guy for spewing a level of arrogance, or arrogance and ignorance as well, let me look at the man in the mirror and let me assess, So, yeah, man, as Twitter iyangikhulisa in those spaces because it teaches me again to be humble, whether it is the Nandipha Segeleni thing or whether it is Umlungwenu talking about the taxi strikes. It's just allowing me to reflect, and that's the whole purpose of this channel, this purpose of the journey, is for me to reflect to snap. Okay, how have I been moving and how can I fix my blind spots? But anyway, guys, as Kule men together, all the best for the rest of the week. I know tomorrow being Wednesday, Women's Day, we have a bit of a breather for us that are privileged to work in corporate spaces. Others that have to work at my petrol station, others that work at my hospital or dokotela or nurse, amaphoyisa, they're still working. So let us privileged enjoy that public holiday while the rest of South Africa hold things together. Nibe right, man. Happy Women's Day for tomorrow. Ngiyanithanda bo sisi, ngiyanithanda bo women. Stay safe.